Hello, everyone. This is Sasha Sestik, your host of the Coffee Man podcast. We are in season 2, episode 4, and I'm so incredibly happy to introduce you I'm gonna be honest, my favorite guest for the season 2, my brother from Kenya, Martin Shabaya. Martin, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, Sash. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. I'm so every time when I talk to you, I think with your beautiful smiles and your great energy, you make me smile and you somehow pass this energy to me, even through Zoom or phone call. So it's gonna be a pleasure talking to you. For some people that are not familiar with Martin, I'm sure everyone is, but he's competed in recent World Barista Championships. He made the finals.
Yeah.
He's the very first competitor from African countries to ever make the finals. So the man has made a history. Martin has competed in the previous barista competitions prior, and not only that he's put Kenya on the map, but I believe that you gave a hope to so many people, so many competitors, not only in Africa but in so many different producing countries. So yeah, looking forward talking to you about your journey and everything. But yeah, more than anything, how are you feeling now that competition is over, and how's everything going for you?
Everything is going smooth now. At least I've relaxed a little. It's been overwhelming the past 2 months, and until now, still getting a clear picture of 2022, which looks like a very promising year for me.
Beautiful. And plus, you don't have Sasha.
But things are settled out.
Yeah, and plus, you don't have Sasha calling you every night and saying you that you need to be better, right?
At least now I can sleep. I can sleep a full 8 hours, man. It was hectic. But it was awesome. I loved it. I enjoyed
absolutely.
It was fruitful.
Yeah, I'm looking actually forward getting into that story. But let's start from beginning. If you can tell us a little bit about you, you growing up, your family, also like kind of when you got into the coffee, why you got into the coffee as well.
Oh, okay. So my name is Martin Shabaya. I'm a barista by profession. I grew up in Nairobi, Kenya, and I got into coffee by chance, actually. I just looked for something to do after my high school, after Anita Rose at home, and I had to look for something at least to start sustaining me. And that's when I bumped into one of the leading chains here in Nairobi, and they gave me an opportunity to work behind the counter as a barista. For the first time, never seen an espresso machine, never knew even the term barista. And it was really, really a wonderful moment for me. Very special to learn. And they gave me an opportunity. They trained me. And getting into competition is a whole new story because I was just invited. I didn't know about any coffee competitions. But as a person, I'm the third born of my family. We are 6 children, and 3 brothers and 2 sisters.
Great.
Yeah.
And when did you start working with coffee? What year was that?
That is back in 2011. Like 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Okay, right.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
And what exactly gave you the spark? You obviously tried different things beforehand, but
yeah. You see, where the restaurant I used to work in, it was like a bar and a restaurant. So I was dealing mostly with cocktails and serving beer, wines, and coffee was just part of it. Now, after a while, I used to just peep and see, we who are new baristas then were not allowed to come any closer to the espresso machine because they needed a little bit more experience on handling the machine. It was expensive. It's something that I had never seen. I was just looking at how they are doing the latte arts and I wonder what's this, man. So I focused more on the cocktail side and the wines, serving beers and everything. But later on, I knew that my passion wouldn't allow me to work on that side. I wanted really to focus on coffee. and then non-alcoholic drinks. So with time, I was given the opportunity, at least now, to grind the coffee, put it in the espresso machine, and then someone else takes over with the lattes and milk. So that's how I learned slowly.
And eventually, as we know, you grew from that position to head barista, and you also grew your career to become a trainer in a company as a barista trainer. Maybe if you can just talk us, like, obviously before COVID and everything when we met, if you can just introduce the company and your duties, your work, maybe how many people you were in charge of or how many people you were training.
Okay, so I used to work for Art Cafe. Now, Art Cafe right now has more than 40 branches, but when I started, it was only 3 branches. In total, we had when I started. So after about 2 years working with Art Cafe, I grew the ranks and I became the head barista of the. By then, it was 12 branches. They had already grown, and so mostly I used to do a lot of trainings. Visiting like 3 branches a day, and the total baristas that I used to work with were more than 130 baristas. So it was really, really hectic trying to follow up consistency and trying to find the right bar representatives in all the branches. And it was really smooth since the year 2015 when I first won the National Barista Championship.
So in 2015 is where you first time won Kenyan competition.
Wow,
that's
I was
a magic
with you in Seattle.
I actually, I did not even know. We've never spoken about that. So you've competed in Seattle, right?
Yes, I competed in Seattle.
And was that your first national competition as well?
That was no. My first national competition was in 2014, which I was the first runners up. So after that, I went to the bakery side of where I used to work. I wanted to expand my skills also in the bakery. So I used to work on the pastries and the cakes. And then I was told that the Barista Championship is coming again for 2015. And they saw my presentation the previous year, and they wanted me to try again even once more. So when I tried once more, and then I won.
So let's talk a little bit about Seattle experience for you. First time in USA for you, is that correct?
First time on the flight.
Yeah,
first time on the flight.
So how was your preparation?
First time living in Kenya.
Yeah.
It wasn't that intense because it was my first time for everything, and by then I didn't know much about competitions at all. So I just came the way I am, but very simple. I remember just carrying one suitcase with a Boston shaker, few glasses and few trays, and that's it. I went there looking for. I was used to the fruits here locally, which were really small, sweet, less juicy. So when I was competing, planning my preparation and competing in Seattle, I found the grapes there were really different. The grapefruit there is really different. So it was really hard to cope up and taste the signature drink like the way it used to taste when I was back at home in Kenya. But I tried my best. On stage, what happened is that I put, I think, a couple more grapes than I'm supposed to. Then after muddling, just came all the way up to the brim, just nearly pouring out. So I wasn't expecting so much juice from the grapes, but it was smooth. I was all alone, and that's part of the challenge. But I didn't notice much because it was my first time. I didn't know I needed someone to have someone to help me or a team.
So you traveled to Seattle by yourself, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm also interested. Your coffee was roasted in sample roaster. Is that correct? For that year?
Yes, for sure.
So it was a very small sample roaster, no control, and everything was done on that because you could not source another roaster, or
mostly okay, that was in Dublin. That's where I had learned much more about roasting and special coffee. But in 2015, I carried roasted coffee from Kenya, and I remember I wasn't so much into detail about. I didn't know much about roasting and the shelf life and the oxidation and everything. So I just used the coffee that I had carried. But in 2016 in Dublin, that's when I went with green beans.
So you've decided to go to Dublin with the green beans without really knowing that someone can help you and roast the coffee. You were going, as I remember, from shop to shop, seeing if someone can help you to roast coffee for you.
Exactly. And in 2015, what I learned is that I didn't seal my valve. I just carried the packs of the roasted coffee beans. So when I was on the other side in Seattle, the pack was shrunk, and then I had when I did the espresso shots on the espresso machine, I didn't get any cremas. So it was really hectic. So I thought maybe it was about the roasting, and I needed to roast it a little bit fresh on my next competition, because I was really looking forward to competing again. So in Dublin, that's when I chose to go with green beans. And with green beans to find a roaster on the other side.
So you found the roaster in Dublin. You obviously made some friends in the Dublin as well.
Yeah, I just moved from the hotel room, walked a couple of blocks from my hotel room, and I knew if I find one coffee shop, I just ask them a very simple question: where do they roast their coffee? And then carrying my 2 kilos, I just go there and ask them if they can roast it for me. But some things I just don't. I lack words to express how I met the right person for the first time. So the first coffee shop I stood was just a small kiosk, Silver Skin Coffee Roasters, and I just asked. He's called Brian. He's a wonderful person, a beautiful soul also. I just asked him where I could roast my coffee, and there was a queue. So he told me, just wait a moment. I finish up with the queue. And then I just waited there, and then he told me, you came with green beans. What are you having? How are you having green beans on your own? And then I told him that I'm the National Barista Champion of Kenya, and I'm coming to compete in Dublin. Oh, then he told me, you are at the right place. And then we just exchanged contacts. He shared his address where his roastery is located. And then he invited me to join him later on in the evening, now with the coffee. Yeah, so I organized myself. Yeah. So he went there. He really helped me a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me, Martin, in 2015, what was your placement in the competition?
43.
And in 2016?
Okay, 2016, I was 24. And then 2017, 22, and then stepped into the wild card for the same is number 16.
So you definitely made a progress, and I found that really inspiring your story, that without even having a team around you or people or someone to push you, with your amazing attitude, with your smiles, your kindness, anywhere you show up, people want to help you and support you. And not only that, and it's not that, hey, Martin needs help and anyone is just going to help him. You actually you're giving the same kindness to other people anytime you can, and we're going to talk about it. And I was a little bit, when you were competing in the semifinals in here in Milan, and before you're going on the stage, you're giving your knock tube, and I said, Martin, you're going on the stage, it's nice to be nice, but you need knock tube for yourself. But it's a beautiful, you obviously, the attitude and everything you have inside of you, people want to be surrounded with you as well. So it's
thank you. It's so good to hear that, man.
Yeah,
it's good to hear that. Thank you, Sash.
So we had obviously 2015, 40 something. Then 2016, you made a progress. 2017, you finished, as you say, 22nd. You got a wild card, and this is where kind of my kind of story comes in with us, because I remember sitting down in 2017 in the finals. I've never, even though you competed with me in 2015, I'm sorry, but I did not notice. I was just focusing on, what Sash does and the team.
I understand.
But the first time I've actually noticed, like watching the semi-finalist wild card, and then you get a wild card, and everyone goes crazy. Everyone in the crowd was so happy for you to make finals.
2017.
I was sitting there with the team, and I said, "Oh my God, Martin! He's such a nice guy," and blah blah blah. and that's the first time I kind of paid attention. Wow, okay. And I kind of want to add, and about 6 months later, I watched your routine. Like, I don't necessarily watch that many routines. I gotta watch this man's routine, and even though routine could be better, obviously, but I just loved your smiles. I loved your energy. I loved, when you are really genuine and honest, you cannot fake that, and I could see that. And I remember talking to Danilo Lodi, WBC judge for so many years. And that year, Danilo was asking me, Sash, can you help us with the coaching in South America, or maybe with Brazil? I said, I would love to, but to be honest, because you inspired me to kind of go, I would love to have someone from Africa one day to be in the finals. And if there's opportunity for me to... So I was not thinking about you at that time, but I said, if there's opportunity for me that I can find someone that I can gel and work with, I'd love to give back in that way. And then something significantly happened. Like I never listened to the podcast, Martin. Like, I actually, maybe up until I listened to the podcast that you've done with James Harper, I believe.
James Harper. Yes, James Harper.
The man is absolute legend. I hope he's listening to this, because thanks.
I hope so. I hope so, man. It's been so long. I wish I meet him someday.
Absolutely, because honestly, because of him and his podcast, we've connected, because I've listened to the podcast that he's done with you, and you shared your story about Seattle, that you had your coffee roasted in a sample roaster. No help, no support. You shared your story that, hey, actually, I need to roast coffee better, so I'm going to get green beans to Amsterdam. And something really touched me. And I said, God, next time I go to Kenya, I want to meet this man. And I actually want to offer him, if he ever wants to compete again, I'd love to give him that offer, or extend that invitation. Like, he's already competed 3 times. He made a progress. He's genuine. He's a real deal. He's can be inspiration for so many people. But, he maybe comes from the country that barista competitions are not established yet, of course.
Yes.
Comes from the maybe place that there's no big team to support. And as we all know, barista competitions are tough. They depend on a team. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of finance. There's a lot of things. So it's kind of course, I feel it's getting harder and harder for some countries to be kind of part of that game. But that doesn't mean that people like you and people that come from producing country, they're less talented. And so I think, when did I come to Kenya to talk to you? Was that 2018
or 19? It was in 2019.
19. So
it was 2019. Yes.
I'd love you to share,
just before my nationals. Before
your nationals, exactly. So I'd love to share, if you can share with all of us, because we've never met up until that moment. I had a plan in my head. I said, I want to help this guy, and I want to meet up with him. Like, were you surprised when I called you or texted you, or what was going in your head?
You texted me on Instagram. You texted me on Instagram, and I was like, is this the one Sash that I know? No, can't be. So I came, I checked the profile, and then I saw it was you. And then I asked you the same question, like, is this you, Sash? And then you said, yeah, man. I remember that. I couldn't believe it. So I didn't know you were in Kenya.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I wasn't following you so much on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I just wondered what. Then you suggested that you had limited time, like about a day.
Yeah.
And you are heading to the airport.
Yeah.
So you asked me if you could meet me on your way to the airport, which apparently was just on the way where I used to stay.
Yeah.
So I of course, I agreed, and we set up the meeting at Big Square. You remember the
Absolutely.
small coffee shop along the highway? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just came that evening. It was really late. It was about 5 something in the evening, and then I came over, met Kevin, your driver,
My brother, yes.
and then oh, it was so awesome. At least to hug you for the first time and know more about you, man.
Yeah.
Even sitting with you on the same table, it was something I couldn't have imagined that could ever happen.
Yeah.
So I was so grateful about that.
And
And here we are.
and back then we made a deal. I remember a big handshake and said, you know
Yeah,
what, we're gonna do
yeah.
this.
I wasn't thinking of ever competing anytime soon, and that's when you proposed the coaching, and who can deny that? So I admitted that, and I said, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, nice.
I agreed.
Yeah, and I believe few
Yeah,
months later we came back to Kenya. We met. Obviously, we took you to meet
yeah,
David and his
yeah. Now
vision and his
David,
farm. Obviously,
yeah.
David is playing. I don't know if you can introduce David and his little bit of his work to all of the listeners, so they understand who he is.
Oh, David is it's a wonderful person, very young, and in fact, I think I'm even older. I'm older with David, and he's a very passionate farmer, very committed producer. He's really innovative. I like his exposure. He's a go-getter, and the first time I met him, I saw it's someone who can really work well with him, and there's someone that who can be able to absorb any new ideas and try something new that can impact the coffee in a positive way. So David is he's a wonderful producer, a good friend of mine also, and I loved how he's taking care of the trees with all the knowledge that he has, and he's open to connect with us like professionals, so we can guide him on what to do on the farm. So he's really has a bright future ahead of him, and I believe in him so much. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of saw this as a really good match because it's the first time I came across with David. Again, Instagram, it's so powerful in the coffee industry, I think.
Oh.
But David reached out to me and he said, hey, I have some questions, blah blah blah, I'd love to talk to you. I read your book and about fermentation. But again,
Yeah.
same like you, very kind, very giving person. And I just felt need that, hey, I actually would love to talk to these people. He's got really good energy about him. So we've exchanged some recipes. Again, when I went to Kenya, I said, David, I have very limited time. I don't have much time, but we can spend a couple hours together. And he, impressed me that not only he wants to improve coffee for himself, but also for, as you've also seen, for, all of these other producers in the area. So like whatever he can learn, he can share that and with the neighbors, so they can bring this community up to a lot higher level, which has been great, because up until a couple of years ago, David did not, export coffees at all. And thankfully to you and your work, like his coffee was like 82, 83 points, or if I can say teamwork. Now his coffee made it to the final of WBC, and not only that, man. Like he's obviously now giving back to his community more, and there's a lot more producers keen to work with us on our joint facilities or fermentations that we've made together with the Project Origin and David. So it's I think that story within itself, without even looking at the barista competition, it's really powerful. How the barista that has a vision, and also the farmer that has a vision, that's young and eager and wants to learn and wants to work together, how fast people can make an impact. And you both have demonstrated that in a really good way. But I want to kind of go a little bit more in now you won nationals. We worked together. Like it's crazy that coffee was grown in Kenya. We sent it back to Australia to roast this time. So roasting is getting more and more complicated. And then we sent it back to Kenya to compete in nationals. You won nationals. We started coaching. We started working together as well, preparing for Melbourne, and then COVID came. And so I want to go back to your, you obviously have a beautiful family. I love your kids.
Yeah.
I have a
Thank you.
I have an amazing friendship with your wife as well. So maybe if you can just introduce
Yeah.
a little bit more about your family, how long you've been married, your kids, your wife.
So, okay. Yeah, when I was in Seoul, 2017 November, uh, the next weekend after our competition, the next weekend was my wedding day. So I got married on 18th of November, and I remember when I flew in on Friday, and my wedding was on the following day. So that's when I got married, and it was still I, I was just from the service, and this here comes my wife now. I think that whole weekend was just something like I was living in amnesia. Something that I couldn't believe that is happening to me. But I've been married for 4 years now. We just celebrated our anniversary, and I have yeah, thank you. I have 3 boys now. So yeah, for sure. My wife is a wonderful person also. She's not in the coffee industry, but she's on the finance side, like accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's one of the most wonderful people I've met as well. So it was
Thank you.
really nice to spend time with her.
Yeah,
So
she really supported me so much in Milan. And
so yeah,
I think it was the best person I could come with to Milan.
absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on. So COVID came. You obviously in your company. I remember talking to you. We were still practicing from Melbourne and training throughout Zoom meetings or WhatsApp chats and etc.
Yeah.
Countless numbers of them.
Yeah.
But then COVID came, and then I remember talking to you, and you were saying, "Hey, quite few shops closed. I'm still have a job, but things are uncomfortable." So if you want to take us through that period from what was happening there at that time with the work.
It was really difficult here in Kenya. I'm sure same all over the world. But now, when I heard about COVID for the first time, I thought it would never come to Kenya and we wouldn't be that much affected. And but I was wrong, really wrong. So I remember when in around April there. So that's when we started most of the coffee shops were being closed, and the lockdowns were being imposed here in Kenya. And very few coffee shops still remained with just selling online. And I was part of the few who were privileged to stay back, as most of the people were being sent on full unpaid leave, and 50% or even more deduction on their salaries. And we went all through all that, and I thought better days were coming. Just the very same year, and I couldn't imagine anything worse that could happen to me. So with time, COVID persisted, and now the company was really struggling, and closing a couple of shops in the meantime, and they had to release some of the management level people. So I was among them, and I understood the situation because I looked around, and there was no business. The people who were earning very little were also sent at home. So I started preparing my mind and myself for anything that could happen, and I wouldn't go with any hard feelings because I saw the situation. So June 30th came, and I was asked to now leave, get to full unpaid leave, and the reality checked in for me now. So that's when I realized, oh wow, now it's my turn
in June
to look
20,
for something to do.
June 2020,
June 30th.
You lost your job. Yeah,
that was my last day of working. Last day. Yeah, I that company as a barista. I was sent on full unpaid leave for more than a year. And eventually it was still difficult even as we were starting coming, the country was opening up. So it was still difficult to bring us back home on board. So they had to release me in a way, and which I accepted because just immediately after 30th June, uh, I couldn't try to look for something else to do in the hospitality industry because it was really affected. So I followed my passion, which I used to my other passion, which I used to do it for just to unwind, to relax. I used to do a lot of woodwork. I used to I had equipment. I had bought equipment before, so I used just to make my household stuff, not for sale. But now I just got into it fully with only one client, who by word of mouth uh, shared the good works that I did for her.
So you started making like a small you started making like small furniture, like tables and chairs and cabinets.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was my first client was a lady who wanted to renovate her house. So I just went there, did a TV stand, floating shelves, and a dining set with a bar. And she shared that on social media, and everyone loved what I did. And so there is when I just started getting calls, and it was moving until today. It's been moving and mushrooming in a special way, and I can't believe where I come from. But the company now where I used to work is grown. They called back most of the people who are at home, and now I think things are getting stable. Although we are getting into the year of election next year, which also is usually very difficult for Kenya. So we are just there. But I really thank God for Milan. It's changing my life in a special way.
Yeah, exactly. So let's. I mean, we obviously between us two, I think we lost a bit of a touch. We haven't spoken for quite a few months when this all happened.
Yeah.
More like how are you? Are you okay as a friends? But obviously competition was not happening, so we've stopped that competition campaign. But I remember the moment they announced that there will be WBC in Milan. I think, same day following that, I said, "Man, we need to talk." And to be honest, this is when I got shocked, because I did not really know that you lost the job and you were not working for coffee as well. And I really felt it, and I said, "Wow, this is." We don't have much time to prepare, and you know, Martin has not even worked with a coffee for a while, and obviously, you know, I loved seeing your messages with the beautiful photos of all of that furniture you're making. And which is fine that, you know, you're obviously a fighter. You always find a way. There's, you know,
I had to.
There's a family. Exactly. There's a family. There's a kids. And I kind of felt it, and I said, well, you know what? Instead of just coaching Martin, like let's go full on. Like I say to my team, like we actually need to now fight for this even more, because it's a lot more meaningful.
Exactly.
You know, and you know, offering you and like kind of talking to PO team and all wholesale, hey, can we sponsor Martin with a coffee, or with this, with the flights, with whatever it takes. Let's just, you know, and get this man to compete. Which we set it all up.
It was really special.
I think it was awesome to have you and your wife to go to Milan as well together for the first time, so she can watch you competing as well. But before we go to the Milan, like I think we kind of made that concept that everything is gonna be fine. Like when it comes to coaching, support, coffee, table setup. I'm actually gonna show you. I even have. It's here. So we were making all of this stuff, and like when I flew, I kind of need to tell everyone, but people that are listening, this is a Martin, or whoever cannot see, this is Martin's little model with the plant charcoal that he used in WBC. This
original version.
This flew with me with the hand luggage, so everywhere I go, it went with me. So it could not go to the.
What?
So
that's a very special piece, man.
Yeah, but to be honest, Martin, the biggest reason we've actually decided to kind of go full on really is you. It's your kindness. It's, you know, it's who you are. It's your your beautiful smiles. And I remember when we were working on a presentation, and like I usually need to tell people, can you please smile? Can you just like, but then sometimes when you're sharing something that's maybe sad, you smile. I said, Martin, don't smile. So we needed to change the scripts and everything to, you know, help to suit you and your personality. And that was all great to work. But I kind of wanted to also point out that like my biggest challenge, you know, working with you is your timing. And timing that we say, hey Martin, you have a homework to, you know, complete this part of the presentation within 2 days, and it doesn't happen. And I've never asked you that because I was putting more pressure on you without asking you how do you feel. But how do you feel with all of that, putting so much pressure on you and possibly myself not ever being satisfied?
No, mostly I used not to meet deadlines because mostly was during the day I used to work on woodwork. Now, when I wanted to focus on coffee, it was in the evenings after woodwork. Now, then I think my mind was already tired, and I was trying to find research and find the best ways with the farmers, also what we can implement in the presentation. And then, so these are the main contributing factors of my deadlines, not meeting the deadlines. But I've really learned a lot. I really learned a lot to be more resilient. And with the help of my wife, I told her, I remember even before, I told her, like, please keep reminding me on this, keep nagging me to wake up early and do something on coffee and do some research. And she did that. And eventually I came to manage really well and manage my time very well. But it was really difficult for me then.
It was very difficult. It was very, very challenging as well. But
it was challenging.
You know, and end of the day, it's not easy when you're in that. I guess a lot of people in your position would decide maybe not to compete as well because
I've never trained that intense, and I never knew it was the training for the WBC was that intense. It really needed a lot of time input. So it's something that I was like, what? 5 hours? I put 5 hours on my WBC routine training and speech. I never used to do something like that. So this was the first time of it that it was really, really heavy for me until when eventually I came to lift the burden of that as I understood much better what it takes with your guidance, of course.
Let's go to Milan. So like, and I remember like before even leaving to Milan, like I said, okay, Martin, there's a homework. This is what needs to happen. And actually the biggest surprise I had is like every night we were talking, every day you were sending me presentations. And I said, wow, he's really good. Yeah. That was like 2 weeks before heading to Milan. He's really good. You know, he's finishing on time. Everything is perfect. And then suddenly you told me, everything is good. We're not changing presentations anymore. But then you said, but now I need to remember my presentation. And I said, well, what do you mean? You're sending me the videos and you are clearly saying this presentation. But you were a little bit cheeky because you had your earphones. You had your earphones, so you just...
I had my...
So you're just listening to what's written and you kind of, you have not memorized it at all. And that...
I hadn't memorized it at all. And
that made me very upset.
I just used my earphones. I remember, but I knew if I mastered the routine for 15 minutes for 14:30 the target. I knew mastering the speech I would take about 3 days to master it. But it was now. I had a lot of pressure to master it. I remember also on the flight, I was just open with my laptop, reading the speech all over and over again, repeating and narrating to my wife every time, even in the hotel room. It was just repeating the speech always.
Yeah, because
I
when
even have a
you
small clip on
exactly,
it. I'll share with you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we should share the video to everyone so they can see where you, because I remember your last presentation before you jumped on a plane to
Yeah.
Milan was absolute disaster.
It
It
was a
was 17 and a
disaster.
half
I couldn't
minutes.
do even the first.
You could not, you had no idea what's going on, like completely lost.
Uh,
And I was talking to
yeah,
Sam
yeah,
and
yeah.
Gus, and I think, oh, God, you know what? Maybe he should not even come to Milan. Like, this is just not good enough. But then when we, obviously, for 2 days, I could not get a hold of you. I said, is he even going to be in Milan? Like, what's going on with this man? And then
Yeah.
finally you came. Day one in Milan was like, it was amazing energy, like to see you, to start working with you. We spent, the
Yeah.
time in the San Remo. We changed a lot of things because I even believe your first presentation in Milan was like 16 to 17 minutes.
Yeah, we changed. Yes, we changed a lot. I think the very few days that we had in that Sanremo space they provided, they really improved everything that I got out of WBC in Milan. I got it from that space.
From that space,
for
yeah,
sure.
and even like
yeah. It was perfectly set up, and I don't know. And you were there, and we had to change things on site, and I think I improved a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a
about
focus.
I could say about 50, more than 60%.
Yeah, absolutely. But what also worried me, Martin, like even though day one you've improved 50%, you still needed to improve more. Day two you improved, but the thing that was worrying me, which kind of again made me upset, Martin late, because we had a very tough schedule. Like Kelly's practicing in the morning, you practicing in the afternoon. Like there's not enough time on the machine. So I said, Martin, okay, I'm gonna see you tomorrow 2:00. You make sure you're in the walking 2:00. 3:30, Martin is not Martin is not in the venue. And that's when I had enough. That's when I had enough, but then you kind of, okay, I got to calm myself down and okay, let's work. And then when I see you presenting, when I see your amazing personality, I'm not so angry anymore because, how can someone be angry at Martin? Like, it's so hard. But then I think the absolutely biggest issue with Martin being late when I completely had enough was first day of competition. I'm sure you remember this. We have done 1 hour practice. That was day before competition. In the morning you had only 15 minutes to dial in your shots.
Yes.
8:00, let's say it was in the morning.
Yeah.
And then 2 to 8 you go, I need to go to the toilet. I said, you are not
that was the best part.
You are not going anywhere. We've done the routine. I did not even want you to taste the coffee as a punishment.
that was the best part I could remember.
And
I think just 1 minute to time as I'm asking.
And I think this is the moment that we broke you because I had enough. I normally would control myself and I said, if you once more late, 1 minute you late, we done. I'm not coaching you anymore. I've given you everything I can, but you cannot be late. Like you have 50 minutes, you need to respect that time. And your most gorgeous, beautiful wife, she was, yes, he does this all the time. So we both are literally yelling at you. You cannot do this anymore. But I think this is the moment where Martin got changed, completely changed.
I think so.
Everyone in Honor Coffee, Sam, everyone goes, Martin is always late. What's going on? Pizzi, my God, he's. But then you qualified. Of course, but we expected you're gonna qualify. Your presentation was great.
Yeah.
You dialed in shots to not perfection. They were very good. And we thought this was comfortable. So you made a semis. We had a plan, okay, now you're in the semifinals, you need to be ready 7:00. And usually when I tell you, Martin, you got to be ready 7:00, you go, maybe 7:30. You would suggest, or maybe you would come to the venue 8, but we said 7:00 goes, no, I'm going to be here at 6. And I arrived very early to the venue. there was no one there, and I'm looking around. Oh, Martin is here! Oh my God! And not only that he's
I
here,
was changed, man.
his cutlery
I
is
had to
polished,
change, man. I
tables.
saw.
So tell me a little bit about your experience. Obviously, this is my version, but it's been an ongoing problem, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But when I made through to the service, I realized that this thing is possible, and I realized that they loved my presentation, and that's why I'm moving to the next level. So I didn't want to let me down in any way, and I remember telling my wife that for the next 2 days, if God willing, I get into the finals, I'll do my best and then leave the rest to God. So be it timing, be it anything, I made sure that I made it right. So I woke up very early in the morning on the semi-finals day, and we were at this. I think among the very few first people on backstage, polishing and narrating the speech again, and just you remember even the testing notes, trying to fix them. It was awesome. It was awesome. But I really felt relaxed because I think this time around, I had the right people around me, and I felt a lot of support. And it contributed a lot. It really did. Just that maybe I can't express it in the best way, but it really, really did contribute a lot. Having the right people who are concerned, who at least they not they are there to like wake you up when you're sleeping, telling you like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. So my experience on that day was really smooth, and I had to change my routines and my rituals of time.
Yeah, your I guess attitude and respect, and making sure that you are always on time, and no people are not waiting for you, right? That tell me. Obviously, announcement started in the semis. They're announcing first competitor, second finalist, third finalist, fourth finalist, fifth finalist.
Finals took me by surprise, man. It took me by surprise because I had already okay when they reached fourth. I looked around and I saw really good baristas are still with me here. So I hope my all hopes was gone. And I was just now like just clapping for the next finalists. What? I couldn't believe when I had my name, especially I just had the name Kenya. I couldn't believe it. Even my wife was there; she couldn't believe it. I don't know what happened then, but it was really special. I, I I wasn't expecting that. If I can remember very well, I wasn't expecting anything close to that, especially when they mentioned to the fourth person, because I had seen a couple of really good baristas around me, and it was overwhelming for me. It was history had been made. I had already, I now started focusing on the trophies that were there, and I knew definitely one was mine this year, and I was so joyful in my heart, and I felt really, really good about it.
Yep. Man, absolutely. Like you, to be honest, that moment, I remember recording on my phone. All of the finalists, I'm kind of there sitting in the crowd. Your wife was next to me, and like the entire team, and they go, competitor number 6, and my phone is like in front, Martin Shabaya, and I just froze. Phone fell down, and instantly in the same moment I was tearing up. Like the entire crowd was like going crazy. Yeah, it was one of the the team Kenya coming and hugs. It was one of the most joyful moments of my life, and for me, yeah. In that moment, like everything is gone. Like the story with David, how you guys met, the work we've done with David, the work we've done, COVID, Martin losing job, working hard, not giving up, you know, an hour before competition, he gets abused by myself and his wife that, we can't have enough of it. but you know what, you've proven that you're strong, and you've proven that, you know what, no matter what, you'll go through it.
Uh, it was one of the most special moments that I've ever had in my life. It's something I never thought of. I knew finals of WBC. It was a really big deal for me. It was only the elite that could manage there. So I never pictured myself there, very as in this soon. And when it happened to me, I felt really humbled, especially when I knew I had my country back home, watching over and looking, hoping for the best. And I got all the support from my fellow friends from the other African countries. They were wishing me all the best, and I felt really humbled to be there as the first person to make it there, at least to pave the way. So Africa can remain in the finals. I wish it does that, and I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you give me goosebumps every time when I think of this moment, and yeah, it's incredible feeling to actually be, you know, take a small part of this beautiful story and this amazing journey. And I remember, you know, when you know, following that, when we were driving again, when we were driving to the airport, taking you guys, and I'll ask you, like, you know, what's next? Like, what do you want to do next? And I really love what you said, that, hey, of course, now that you have done all of this work and there's African champion, like you feel like that you want to give back to Kenya, to your people there, with your experience, with everything you learned, for next generations in baristas to continue the path that you've started, because you obviously opened the doors for everyone there. I remember, like, lot of received also a lot of messages, and like even some messages from people just literally crying, how, you know, how much happy you made them. So it's yeah, it's a beautiful story. I think, you know, no, for you now, going back to Kenya and opening new doors for you, that, you know, there's some great job opportunities happening. Hopefully, you know, joining San Remo team as well very soon, and, you know, as ambassador. But I think the most important thing, most important thing what you mentioned is your goal now is, or your purpose now is to put your country on the map, right? And so what are the kind of next things that Martin wants to do?
First of all, I'd like to be part of the coaches who will coach the next Kenya champion. So I can spark them like I was. Anyway, yeah, but mostly I'd like to train to be part of the training team, who will be training the Kenyan and Africa baristas who will represent Africa in the world. I'll try my best to reach out to them, and also I'm looking forward to work more closely with David, and at least we impact that community, the whole area, in a positive way, and on their varieties that they have, the less popular varieties on the world stage, but really popular varieties of the farmers here in Kenya, to show them that it's possible. If they can do it, they can improve the quality regardless the variety. So I'm planning to work very closely with David and other farmers in this coming year. And if God wills, and I get the opportunity at San Remo, I'll be the proudest ambassador for coffee all over the world. So to revivify our industry, like I said in my conclusion, yeah, and expand the coffee community. Yeah.
Kind of as a conclusion is that your resilience, your hard work is just not only your humbleness and your beautiful smile. It's you know what helped you to turn your crisis from kind of, you know, losing the job to now being an idol to everyone in Africa, and not only Africa. Like I saw the photo of your big painting of Martin Shabaya in Ecuador. So it's maybe this year you did not win WBC, but you 100% are world or people champion.
For sure. That's for sure. It's unbelievable how they've been so nice to me, and I don't know how to give back to them, but thank you all.
You already are, because what you've said, that's exactly what it is. Give back to younger generations, the next people, and then next younger generations, whether they're baristas or farmers. But Martin, it's been absolute pleasure talking to you, mate. First of all, pleasure talking to you, but also you are my Kenyan brother, as we call each other. But you have gifted me something very special in my life. There's a number of occasions that I remember as the most joyful moments of my life. Getting married, having my kids, maybe playing Olympics. But the moment when you got announced as number 6 in the world is something I'll always carry in my heart. So close.
Thank you, Sash. It couldn't be possible without you. Sometimes I just lack words to appreciate you as a person as well. And even as I don't know how you came through, I usually tell like everyone I meet about you as God sent. And I pray that God bless you. And if there's any way, I don't know how I can. I'll give back to the community as part of your appreciation.
I know you will, mate. In your own way, with the people you would like, but
because you regardless the geography, you just reach out from all the way from Australia here in Africa, and I have even barista friends in Uganda who are really happy because you gave them a chance to talk to, and they feel like I'm the most privileged to have worked with you, and so I don't know. Just God bless you and continue your good works towards.
God bless you too. Yeah. To wrap up, I guess obviously the team effort, trust in each other, believe, same vision, same mission, and when we work together, everything is possible. You've proven it, and I think this podcast, people that are out there that are willing to compete, they feel that they come from the country that's maybe not as fortunate. There's always way. So keep going forward. Reach up to Martin as well, and we'll find a way to share more of these stories. But more than anything else, it's good to enjoy this and to kind of enjoy this success. Take a time, enjoy your holidays and your breaks, and next year let's create more joyful moments for the others.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll have to.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Martin, and thank you for everyone listening. Absolutely, and being part of this amazing conversation. So this is everything from us too. Thank you very much, and goodbye.